Happiness, is it something you find? Or something you create? Today, I will show you how to train your mind for real, lasting happiness. Not the temporary highs, not the illusions, but the kind of joy that stands strong, no matter what life throws at you. If you've ever felt lost, stuck, or like happiness was always just out of reach, this is for you. The Dalai Lama teaches that the purpose of life is to seek happiness. And importantly, that enduring happiness is achieved by training the mind rather than by external circumstances. External events only give fleeting highs or lows. For example, winning the lottery or suffering an injury shifts mood temporarily. But people tend to return to their personal happiness baseline soon after. Our mental state, however, profoundly colors how we experience life. Negative emotions can make even good situations feel miserable, while a calm, positive mind finds contentment despite difficulties. Therefore, by systematically cultivating positive mental states and reducing negative ones, one can gradually achieve a stable and lasting happiness regardless of external ups and downs. This approach of inner transformation is rooted in Buddhist philosophy and is increasingly supported by modern psychology, which both affirm that overcoming suffering and enhancing well-being require understanding the mind and engaging in spiritual, mental practices. Principle 1. Happiness comes from within mind over external circumstances. Happiness is ultimately an inner state of mind, not a product of external wealth or success. The Dalai Lama emphasizes that no matter how wonderful a change in life is, a promotion, a windfall, a new relationship, the joy it brings is usually temporary. As we adapt and return to our baseline mood, lasting well-being arises from one's mental outlook rather than external conditions. In practice, this means training ourselves to develop a contented and resilient mindset. Psychological research echoes this idea. A significant portion of our happiness is determined by our intentional activities and mental habits. And by training our brains through awareness and exercises, we can become more optimistic and resilient. In short, cultivating inner qualities like gratitude, optimism, and peace of mind provides a far more reliable path to happiness than chasing material or sensory pleasures. Principle 2. Understanding suffering to transform it. Suffering is an inescapable part of life, and understanding its nature is key to mental freedom. Buddhist philosophy, as presented by the Dalai Lama, asserts that the root causes of suffering are internal, specifically ignorance, hatred, anger, and craving, attachment. We often exacerbate our pain by resisting or denying suffering. The Dalai Lama advises that acceptance of suffering is the first step in overcoming it. Rather than feeling victimized, why me? When difficulties arise, one trains the mind to view challenges as opportunities for growth. This shift in perspective, finding meaning or a lesson in adversity, can transform suffering into a source of strength. For example, a frustrating situation, like dealing with a difficult person, can be reframed as an exercise in patience and tolerance. By understanding the universal nature of suffering and its causes, we become motivated to remove those mental causes in ourselves, reducing ignorance through wisdom, anger through compassion, and craving through contentment. This wisdom-oriented approach leads to greater equanimity and prepares the ground for happiness to take root even amid life's inevitable hardships. Principle 3. Cultivating positive states to counteract negative ones. According to The Art of Happiness, negative emotions like anger, hatred, fear, and greed are toxins that poison our happiness, whereas positive emotions like love, compassion, patience, and forgiveness are antidotes that heal the mind. Training the mind for happiness involves deliberately nurturing these positive mental states to override the negative ones. The Dalai Lama suggests that we identify and analyze negative feelings when they arise, then consciously replace them with opposing positive responses. For instance, practicing patience and empathy can gradually uproot anger and hatred, a method also recommended in Buddhist mind training teachings. This principle aligns with modern psychological approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy, which works by correcting distorted negative thinking and cultivating healthier thoughts. Studies have shown that by consistently shifting attention to positive aspects and challenging negative thought patterns, people can reduce anxiety and depression and increase their overall happiness. In essence, inner discipline, developing virtues and constructive attitudes, is required to undo bad habits of mind and replace them with habits of happiness. Over time, these positive states, kindness, contentment, joy, become more frequent and spontaneous, greatly elevating one's baseline well-being. Principle 4. The power of compassion and altruism. Compassion, the genuine wish for others to be free from suffering, is a cornerstone of a happy mind. The Dalai Lama places great emphasis on cultivating universal compassion as a spiritual practice and a source of lasting happiness. True compassion is unbiased and extends to everyone, including strangers or even those who have harmed us, by recognizing our shared desire to avoid suffering. Developing such empathy and kindness not only benefits others but also has a profound boomerang effect on our own well-being. Research in positive psychology supports this. Acts of altruism reliably increase our happiness. In one study, only participants who performed kind acts for others, or for their community, showed significant boosts in positive emotions and life satisfaction, whereas those who only indulged themselves did not see such benefits. In fact, the findings suggest that we reach higher levels of flourishing when we care for others rather than focusing solely on ourselves. By practicing compassion, whether through meditation on loving kindness or daily acts of generosity, we reduce self-centered thinking, a source of anxiety and isolation, and reinforce our sense of connection and purpose. The Dalai Lama teaches that warm-heartedness and concern for others are fundamental to mental peace. The more we care about others' happiness, the greater our own happiness becomes. Thus, training the mind in compassion is a direct route to a joyful and meaningful life. Principle 5. The importance of human connection and relationships. Human beings are deeply social creatures, and nurturing positive relationships is crucial for happiness. In the Dalai Lama's view, intimate connection is not limited to romantic partners, it includes friendship, family, and even the simple warm interactions we share with people in everyday life. Feeling connected and loved contributes to a stable, happy mind, whereas loneliness and alienation breed unhappiness. Modern research strongly reinforces this point. An 80-year Harvard study famously found that close relationships are the strongest predictor of long-term happiness and health. Personal connection provides emotional support and mental stimulation, automatic mood boosters, while social isolation is associated with lower well-being and even poorer health. To train the mind for happiness, we should invest in strengthening our bonds with others, practicing good communication, empathy, and forgiveness in relationships. The Dalai Lama recommends seeing every person as someone deserving of compassion and understanding, which helps break down barriers and creates a sense of universal friendship. By embracing the interdependence we have with others, recognizing that our own well-being is linked with the well-being of those around us, we foster an outlook of openness and trust. This principle encourages us to cultivate kindness in all our interactions and to build community, as a happy life is best lived in fellowship with others rather than in isolation. Principle 6. Mindfulness and self-awareness in everyday life. Mindfulness, calm, clear awareness of the present moment, is a powerful tool for training the mind and is central to both Buddhist practice and modern stress reduction techniques. By practicing mindfulness meditation, one learns to observe thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them, which gradually improves self-awareness and emotional balance. The Dalai Lama and many Buddhist teachers recommend regular mindfulness, through breathing exercises, meditation sessions, etc., to develop a mind that is attentive yet at ease. This practice helps us catch negative emotions early and let them pass without fueling them, thereby protecting our happiness. Scientific studies have documented a host of benefits. Consistent mindfulness practice increases positive emotions and overall life satisfaction, and reduces stress, reactivity, and even aggressive impulses. It also enhances skills like attention and self-regulation, which are essential for mental well-being. In essence, mindfulness trains the mind to settle and see clearly, breaking the cycles of worry and rumination that undermine happiness. By staying present, we also learn to fully savor simple joys in life instead of being lost in past regrets or future fears. Incorporating moments of mindfulness throughout the day, such as mindful breathing, eating, or walking, anchors the mind in the here and now, which is the only place where true happiness and peace can be experienced. Over time, a mindful approach to life creates a stable foundation for happiness that does not sway with every external change. Principle 7. Weaving spirituality and meaning into daily life. Cultivating a spiritual outlook, whether through religious faith or secular ethics, provides deeper meaning and support for a happy mind. The Dalai Lama notes that while religious belief can strongly benefit happiness, studies show people with active faith tend to be happier and less anxious. One need not follow a particular religion to be spiritual. What he calls basic spirituality is accessible to anyone and is based on living by core values like compassion, honesty, and kindness. In practice, weaving spirituality into daily life means seizing everyday opportunities to practice those values and to remind ourselves of a higher purpose. This could be as simple as starting the day with a prayer or meditation, reflecting on gratitude in the evening, or applying teachings, like patience or forgiveness, during ordinary challenges at work and home. Such practices infuse even mundane activities with a sense of purpose and connection to something greater. The Dalai Lama encourages everyone to practice their form of spirituality consistently. If you follow religion, embody its teachings of love. If you don't, cultivate a secular spirituality by cherishing human values and the marvel of life. Research in psychology has found that having a sense of meaning or belonging to a spiritual community can increase resilience and emotional well-being. Ultimately, this principle is about recognizing that true happiness is supported by an inner moral and spiritual framework. By dedicating ourselves to wisdom, compassion, and understanding, the qualities at the heart of all spiritual traditions, we create an inner environment where happiness can flourish, and we can remain steady through life's ups and downs. Practices and exercises for training the mind. Translating these principles into action requires regular mental exercises and habits. Here are some proven methods drawn from Buddhist practices and modern psychology that help cultivate a happier mind. Mindfulness meditation. Practice sitting quietly and focusing on your breath or bodily sensations for a set time each day. This builds concentration and teaches the mind to gently let go of distractions. Over time, mindfulness meditation increases awareness of thoughts and feelings, which helps you respond to life more calmly instead of reacting with stress. Research shows it can reduce anxiety and improve overall well-being by enhancing present moment awareness. Begin with just 5 to 10 minutes daily, and increase as comfortable. Loving kindness and compassion meditation. Use meditation to systematically develop feelings of goodwill and compassion toward yourself and others. For example, in loving kindness practice, you silently repeat phrases wishing happiness and peace first for yourself, then for loved ones, acquaintances, and even people you find difficult. This exercise gradually expands your compassion and reduces negative feelings. Studies indicate that practicing loving kindness regularly boosts positive emotions, like joy, gratitude, and decreases negative emotions. It also makes social connections feel stronger. As a daily or weekly practice, this helps replace anger or indifference with empathy and warmth. Gratitude reflection. Cultivate a habit of gratitude to shift your mind toward positivity and contentment. One simple exercise is writing down 3 things you are thankful for each day, or mentally reviewing them each night. According to psychologists, gratitude practices can significantly increase happiness by training the mind to notice the good in life rather than taking it for granted. The Dalai Lama similarly suggests that comparing down, reflecting on those who have less or are facing greater challenges, can spark a sense of appreciation for what we have. Countering envy and discontent. Regular gratitude reflection builds an attitude of abundance and reduces the habit of fault-finding. Cognitive reframing and journaling. Train yourself to reinterpret challenging situations in a more positive or constructive light. When you feel upset or encounter a setback, take a moment to write down the thoughts running through your mind. Then ask, are there other ways to view this situation? For instance, if you fail at a task, rather than thinking, I'm no good, reframe it as a learning experience. This is an opportunity to improve. This exercise in perspective shift mirrors the Dalai Lama's advice to find the good in every situation. Even difficulties can teach resilience or patience. By keeping a journal of negative incidents and actively finding a more hopeful narrative or lesson, you weaken habitual negative thinking. This approach, used in cognitive behavioral therapy, helps replace harmful thought patterns with healthier ones, leading to a more optimistic and balanced mindset. Practicing patience and tolerance. Use daily inconveniences as training opportunities for patience. The next time you are stuck in traffic, waiting in a long line, or dealing with someone else's irritability, consciously breathe and observe your irritation rather than feeding it. Remind yourself that this is an exercise to strengthen your mind's equanimity. The Dalai Lama notes that anger is one of the biggest obstacles to happiness. And the antidote is patience. By repeatedly enduring small frustrations without lashing out or fuming, you build the mental muscle to remain peaceful under bigger challenges. This is a form of active spiritual practice in daily life, bringing the teachings off the cushion and into real-world situations. Over time, you'll find that things which used to trigger stress or anger no longer disturb your peace so easily. Acts of kindness and service. Set a goal to perform kind acts regularly. And make generosity a personal habit. This could be as simple as helping a colleague, volunteering in your community, or listening deeply to a friend in need. Altruistic actions directly increase positive emotions and a sense of connection. You might schedule a weekly volunteer activity or daily small gestures, like complimenting someone or checking on a neighbor. Approach these acts mindfully, noting the joy and warmth that arise in you when you help others. Such practices reinforce the understanding that caring for others is a source of happiness for yourself as well. In essence, you are training the mind to find joy in giving. This also combats feelings of isolation or purposelessness by reminding you of your value to others. Reflection on impermanence and purpose. Spend a few minutes occasionally reflecting on deeper truths, for example, the impermanence of material things and the values you want to live by. The Dalai Lama often teaches that remembering life's brevity and the limited satisfaction of worldly pursuits can inspire us to focus on what truly matters, like love, wisdom, contribution. You can do a simple contemplation. Think about the fact that all the external achievements or troubles are transient. And ask yourself what kind of person you wish to be despite those changing circumstances. Such reflection builds wisdom and resolve, aligning your mind with your larger spiritual or life goals. It helps reduce attachment to trivial problems and orients you towards sources of meaning that sustain happiness. Many find that reading a short inspirational passage or scripture and then quietly contemplating its relevance to their life is a helpful routine to keep the mind grounded in a bigger perspective. Each of these exercises requires consistency and effort, as the Dalai Lama reminds us. Negative habits and mental traits can only be replaced through sustained effort and practice. Just as physical fitness comes from regular training, mental fitness for happiness comes from regular spiritual and psychological exercises. By engaging in a combination of mindfulness, compassion, gratitude, and reflective practices, we address both components mentioned in our topic. We understand our minds better, through introspection and learning, and we engage in spiritual practice to transform our hearts. Over time, this training regimen leads to an enduring happiness that is resilient in the face of life's ups and downs. A happiness built on inner peace, insight, and compassionate engagement with the world. A gradual path to lasting happiness. Training the mind for happiness is a gradual, lifelong journey. The Dalai Lama and Howard Cutler remind us that achieving profound change in our mindset doesn't happen overnight. It requires education, conviction, and continuous practice. By understanding key principles, such as the inner sources of happiness and suffering, and applying consistent spiritual exercises, we effectively reshape our mental habits in favor of well-being. Modern scientific findings validate this empowering message. People can indeed elevate their baseline happiness through intentional activities and mental training, experiencing fewer negative states and more frequent positive states as they practice. In essence, happiness is an art that can be cultivated. With patience and perseverance, anyone can develop a more joyful, compassionate, and peaceful mind. As these practices take root, the mind becomes more flexible and robust, capable of weathering life's storms while remaining centered in contentment. The convergence of ancient Buddhist wisdom and contemporary psychology offers a hopeful understanding. True happiness is within reach for those willing to train their minds and nurture their spirits. By living with awareness, kindness, and understanding, we fulfill the deepest purpose of our life's journey, attaining the lasting happiness that comes from within.